Yeah, there are those in the purely intellectual circles, Duane, who may consider the works of the Numan as as the works of someone on the, well, I say, lunatic fringe. So, what can be done to tap into the intellectual circles of society of what you're presenting? Because some of them may feel, you know, in their conceited imagination that they are well above what is being presented. But we need these people of what you call superior intellect or anything like that to be acquainted with this, with the new presentation, with what the wonderful worldwide educators are presenting. So, Duane, any ideas we can reach this? Let me call it the lunatic fringe of society, because the intellectuals, I don't think there are any intellectuals. Yeah, Duane?
Okay, so they're going to find that very interesting how you describe them, Charles, but we already know that. Actually, we're doing it already. It's all there. There's so much information out there, and especially as I write the groups and other things and the books, etc. This is for the intellects. It really is. The words and phrases. This is intellectual stuff. This is literalized stuff, and this is what people need. And so, as an example, as you read a book or a story, you are, I see why a lot of people like to read, and it is fun simply because as you're reading, you are creating your own fantasy about how you see this. Okay, so you're fantasizing, you're using your imagination, let's say, and you're fantasizing how you see this adventure from the words. But you need that literal part, don't you? That's for your intellect, because this is how the mind is set up. The mind and the bodies basically are just receivers and storehouse. That's all they are. Okay, it's the real you that initiates any decision, but the mind itself can run on routines and patterns. Of course it can. It can run by itself automatically because it's got its routine set up. But what we have is really all for the intellect. We've come through the ideas of this particular writing is spiritual, or this is religion, or this is politics. It's all the same words. It's all the same thing. See, all these situations or ideas that, the complexity of this world, look at the cowboy and Indian days, how the Indians were. They lived a very simple life and they focused on nature. Well, in the last couple hundred years, all of a sudden, we have the modern world with all this complexity and the computers and just all this stuff, this technology, etc. And it becomes more confusing, doesn't it? More and more and more confusing because of all the little things. But it's all set up for the intellect. And so these ideas that we have, it's like, oh, if you read the Bible, that's religious, that's spiritual, or whatever. Or if you're on a path, or, some teaching, some yoga or Buddha path or meditation, well, that's spiritual and that's of a particular. It's all the same words. This is all intellectual stuff. It's really what it is. That's the first step. There's no difference between one set of words that say this and that, and the next set of words that say this and that, you see? And so as you really start to take the time to focus on the isness of life, all right, it's kind of like you're on the mountaintop and you're seeing all of creation, because you need creation. You need creation to see this isness better, but you get the idea. But everything here, see, again, you're thinking in your mind that, just like you, thinking, oh, well, this is educational, intellectual stuff. Well, I'm using the same words. I'm just rearranging them and making a reference of a particular. How you've arranged the words, or they've arranged the words in the system that you have and you're dealing with and you teach and whatever, you know, they're referring to a particular, aren't they? They're referring to that educational idea, all right, mainly on the earth, and people supposedly doing better and getting a better job. But really, it's all part of the isness, and that's the intellectual part that's already here, Charles. It's all over the place. And so, again, what I'm doing is no difference, but the reference is difference. That's the reality. This is where people will read what I've written, and they'll say, well, this is just like other stuff I've read. But they don't see the reality of it that supports it. And that's the real guides, as, you know, and their real connection with the isness. Now, there's no one else in the world, or even in creation, basically, that has that. That becomes the difference. It is that real support, okay, that provides it to where the individual can become more aware. Yes, they can read the words. Anybody can take my words and go and sell them out there and give them to people, and etc. And it just becomes the intent of the individual accordingly if the guides will support them or not. For the most part, they won't, because of what has taken place. So it's kind of like a networking the real guides are looking for those people that step up and have the courage to support others that support them. That's the idea, not to where you just get the writings and you feel good about yourself and you go off somewhere. Well, fine, you can do that. You can do whatever you want. But the real risk takers step up and support this reality and learning to see how the is sees. But yet we have all this intellectual stuff. It's everywhere. It's I've written so much stuff, and others, and Kelsey and Kevin, and you know, all the people doing this. It's we're so saturated out there. It's really kind of funny. But this is where, and is there a correlation to it? In other words, step 1, step 2, step 3. Kind of, but not really. I didn't really want to do that because people get used to that routine. It's more like an Easter egg hunt, okay? Go find the eggs that your parents hid, you know, run around and find them and discover. And this is the whole thing. You know, there's so much information out there, intellectual, literalized information that references the isness, and learn to put it together and have fun with that. And learn to be creative with it so you become more aware and you start to see what is being presented, you see, and from your real side experiences too, in relation, and all these things, because the isness is endless. You can never consider it. So how do you see it? But when you do consider it, are you limiting yourself to that consideration, only thinking, oh, I know what this is? You know, many people think, oh, it's like a God. No, this is what's so cool. It is not an authority. It's like the air you breathe. Is the air you breathe an authority? No. Gods are authorities. That's the whole idea of the God idea, to be an authority. Something that people can't see or really can't touch or reach, but you're to believe in it, okay? And so you're always chasing something lifetime to lifetime. Well, now you know that life is an isness. You don't have to chase anything. It's an endless isness to recognize here and now. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to project bodies. You don't have to do any of that. It's so cool. And real freedom, guess what? It's better than real freedom. Real freedom is an idea for the intellect, but it's better than that. You see, you can say, well, I have freedom to breathe. Well, you don't even have to think that, do you? You're breathing and you're fine. See, it's even better than that. So to recognize this. So yes, Charles, we have everything and more for the intellects out there. It's just they have to learn to see it, and they don't need the categories of discrimination anymore: political, spiritual, you know, religious, educational, scientific, and all this. They're just words. I've taken the same words everybody else uses. I learned them here, and I'm just rearranging them. It's the reference that's important, you see? So it's all there, isn't it? Go ahead.
Yeah, Duane, actually, what you say is quite evident. Everything is out there, but some people will think that it is some type of group like that. I don't want to join this group or this spiritual or whatever they may think in their minds. Yeah, so it is incumbent on us the new students to find ways, creative ways to bring these teachings into the mainstream of society, of the intellectual world, especially because there are many people out there who think that the literalized education is all they need. Yeah, and without understanding that is very deficient. And in fact, there is, working from the ground of the isness of life, one is better able to see the whole of life, as you rightly said. It's like having a view from the mountain top. And these intellectuals, they don't know that if they could just pay attention to what the worldwide educators are presenting, it may even help them to come out with more literalized theories about life. They don't know this. And so I think it's a gradual process, and we'll get there. More and more people of a literal nature, of an intellectualized nature, they will come to know about the works of the Numan, and if they have the patience to read, then they can realize that it forms a new foundation of thought that can help not only this world, but well beyond.